All right. Well, huge good morning to everyone. Nice to see everyone that's joined from across Australia and Bali, which is great. So welcome. And if you're joining for the first time, by the way, a huge welcome. You're more than welcome to come anytime. We put this on for the business people and career focused people, or people that are just interested in serving God in those kind of ways. So we have people from within our church, and we even have people from other churches that join us quite consistently too. So it's open invite, more than welcome. And I know you're going to love this morning. We do, worth mentioning again, we do pop these on YouTube, and I don't know what the formulas are there, but some weeks, like last week, we got a couple of hundred hits on YouTube. So anyway, people are watching. I don't know how they find it, but don't advertise it or anything, but it's out there. One thing I did want to mention, we've actually put together a Business Connect prayer team. There's been a couple of people that have just contacted me with specific prayer needs, and I put together a small team that we're just dedicated to praying for those needs. Obviously, we're keeping people's confidentialities, but we are praying specifically over some of the needs people are putting forward. So two things I'd say to that is, if you want to commit to praying for people in our greater world, and specifically for needs in their workplace, business, career, studies, whatever, family, whatever it might be, please let me know. And if you have prayer needs, just hit us on email or text, or give us a call, and we'll make sure we're adding you to that. It's been cool because some of the people we've been praying for, we've actually seen really specific answers to those prayers too, which has been amazing. So yeah. Anyway, Heart for the House I thought was just a spectacular weekend across our church. It was, actually, Andrew and I were having a great chat on the phone yesterday, and speaking with others during the week. I just thought it was so powerful hearing people's testimonies, and it was kind of cool hearing testimony that related to one of our buildings, one that related to what we're doing globally with Vision Rescue, and then one related to what we're doing locally, specifically with 180TC, which I know a lot of people here are big supporters of 180TC in many ways, but if we're giving to the foundation, what I love is that we are supporting all of those causes, which is cool. I've personally never been to India, but I can have an impact what's happening on the ground with Vision Rescue. So pretty awesome. So what we thought we'd do today, we're going to do a bit of a, I say it tongue in cheek, but an all-stars edition with some amazing people, part of our church. And already this year, I think one of the wins, one of the miracles, there's just been some of the stories that have come out around Heart for the House. And I just contacted a few people, put out a few feelers over the last few days, and thought it'd be great to hear some stories from people. Really, I just put it broadly out to people. I said, look, tell us what God's been doing in your life over the last year or so. And that might tie into Heart for the House, or it might just be general in your life, your business. We just, I guess, want to hear people that have a heart for the house, have a heart for what they're called to do in the workplace. So I have 5 different people that I've asked to share for sort of 5 to 7 minutes or so. And I might just introduce them one by one as they go. The first person I was going to ask to share is an awesome guy called Felix. I saw him sitting in the car there with the with the sunroof. Felix is part of our Inner West campus with Sam and Cheryl Fagan here in Sydney. Awesome guy. We've become connected over the last few months, and I've just loved getting to know this guy. He's actually starting to help us in the stewardship space. In particular, he just knows all things property. So he's helping us. Well, he's already got some great content, but we're looking at putting together content to help people buy homes, maybe help couples or singles get into their first home, and just do some stuff like that. Really exciting. We did a little panel with some of our youth leaders the other day that they're yet to edit, classic youth ministry. But one of the guys on that panel, just this week, I sent Felix a photo on Tuesday with Nancy, who had just bought her first home on the weekend. So it was pretty awesome. And she took so much of what she had learned she was asking Felix questions on that panel. So it was just awesome. So mate, we love you. I'm going to throw to you first, and I'll introduce the next person after you. But welcome, mate. You want to unmute and say hi so you pop up for everyone?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Dan. I really appreciate that. Morning, everyone. It's really nice to meet you all. As Sam mentioned, we attend Hillsong Inner West. Got 2 amazing kids, beautiful wife, all love Jesus, and but yeah, look, I stepped into the property space after being an investor for probably about 20 years, but started my own buyer's agency business about, I would say, 3 years ago, after seeing a gap in the market and really a focus on understanding an individual's need and their goals, and just really sitting down and listening to the clients and, what their goals and ambitions and dreams are, and really just kind of orchestrating a plan around that to really help them. But I would say in the last probably 2 years, I've really just been searching for purpose in what I do. And it was probably around this time 2 years ago for the house when there was a screen on CityCare where Simon was actually part of CityCare, helping all the youth ministry. And I was just like, oh man, I've just had this big calling on my heart to help the youth. And, I grew up in a pretty tough area around Fairfield, and I knew how tough it was to just kind of break out of that whole scene and stuff. And, I dropped out of school due to a lot of, I guess, hanging around with the wrong crowd and stuff. But, I bounced back and, finished my year 12. And so I reached out and joined CityCare and joined the youth ministry in terms of helping the kids, mentoring them through year 12, but also looking at ways in which they can obviously be more financially savvy, not only from the finance money point of view, but also through property. And then it was probably just in the last year, and big shout out to Pete Lowe. He really inspired me. He said to think bigger and to impact more lives as opposed to just to do what you do on a daily basis. So as Dan mentioned, I've just finished putting together an online course, which is heavily focused around first-time buyers. And it's really just to, close that gap in the market where people just have no idea in terms of what to do when they actually, get a loan or want to start looking for property. And I've put it in a very easy to step-by-step process in terms of how to follow, building on the right team, having some goals. And I think that's really just drawn on my heart. And, it's all about just encouraging people through that journey. And I honestly feel that if I had that when I was growing up, I'd be in a much kind of, stronger position. I guess I might just kind of share a bit of my story in terms of how I got into the property space. I might finish up there, but I was quite fortunate that at the age of about 21, my dad kind of introduced me to his friend who came to Australia about the same time. They both had businesses, they both had bakeries. He managed to accumulate 10 properties in that space of time while my dad had none. And I remember my dad coming home and just sharing that story. And I said, Dad, you got to get me in contact with this gentleman. And at that time I was about 21 years old. And he said, look, give him a call. And I called him up and he said, I'm going to Queensland this weekend. If you're interested, join me. And so I was like, I'm in. So I had time, I deferred my uni. I was like, all right, I'm going to Queensland. I'm going to see what this guy's doing. Went there. Like, it just made so much sense. He was buying property for about 150,000. They were renting for 250. Came back to Sydney, told the family about it, flew up in about a month's time, went back up there. We bought like 5 properties. And that's how it all kind of started for me. And ever since then, I've just been investing in property, helping family, helping friends. And then now I'm just doing it professionally. But I just thought if the youth and young adults had that level of exposure at that age, just imagine where they could be today and how much more they could serve in ministry and not have to worry about their finances. So yeah, that's essentially why and where I feel my purpose is being called for. And I just love the fact that I can help people get into a house and build equity and achieve their dreams.
So good, mate. Love it. And I was curious. You had mentioned, I don't know if this story is too fresh. I just thought I would ask anyway. But you had mentioned how I think it was around the new roads, new rivers.
Yep.
Remember when that was in our church? Do you want to maybe just share a little bit around that? Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot with this one. I just love that story. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I was telling Dan because we've also got a cafe and that point with that song Oceans, I was driving to the cafe and we're doing a trial and I was just playing in the background and I was just singing through the chorus and I didn't know what to expect for the cafe, but it's that cafe has really drawn us so much more closer to God. It's put us in so much more deeper waters because we've never owned a cafe before, never knew how to make coffee, so just got thrown in the deep end. But that allowed me and my wife to really just lean in on God. And in the last 4 years, we've just grown so much closer, and our faith has grown so much, and it's just allowed us to understand, just to give everything to God, and really just understand what was, really important in life. But yeah, that song, it's every time I hear it, it's just like, oh, it's amazing. It just, yeah.
That's awesome, mate. It's you guys are incredible, and thanks just for being such a great, faithful part of our church and living big. I love that Pete Lowe challenged you to that end. He's good for that. So I appreciate you, mate. Thanks for sharing some of your word with us this morning.
No worries. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome. Awesome couple. I actually got to know a couple I want to introduce now. Suzanne and Peter. Suzanne and I served on seating communities together a couple of years ago. But I was at one of the crew meetings. Shout out to the 11 a.m. Bills team. I was at one of the crew meetings the other day and just ended up having a chat to these guys. Suzanne in particular was telling me just a couple of things that were happening. Look, I won't go into it because it's part of your story and I want you to share it. But do you guys want to jump off mute there and just say hi so you pop up for everyone?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Dan, thank you for having us. And yeah, amazing to see all those people. Special shout out to some Dutch friends of ours who have been joining as well. Well, let me introduce us. I'm probably the least business person in this Zoom meeting, I'm pretty sure. I will tell, Suus will tell her story. We are Peter and Suus, we have 3 kids, 5, 7 and 10-year-olds, a boy and 2 girls. We are so blessed. We are from the Netherlands. We arrived in Australia in 2019 and we've been part of Hillsong Amsterdam since 2014, and that's been a huge blessing for us. My background in the Netherlands is nursing and mental health, and I'm here working in disability, mental health and homelessness. And well, that's probably why I'm the least business person. Suus is more of a business person. She will tell herself.
Yeah, so in 2019 we moved here to Australia for me to do a master's studies. I'm not that young anymore. I'm 40, but anyways. And but in the Netherlands, we had quite a financial flourishing life, to be honest. Peter had a good job. I had my own business in human resource management, and we were doing pretty well, actually. We still do well, by the way. But we were part of Hillsong Netherlands, and we just love to build God's house, and we were part of Heart for the House as well there. So after a couple of years, we kind of, we just hired our Heart for the House, and Peter put a stake in the ground. He said, like, let's never lower our Heart for the House offering. And we were fine because we were financially healthy. So we were, yeah, of course we can make that promise. Then in 2019, we gave up our whole life in the Netherlands. I sold my business, no jobs anymore. We left family, friend, houses, everything. And as temporary residents here in Australia, it's quite an expensive life, I need to be honest. And me studying full-time and not working anymore. This was the first time we experienced that we had more costs than income, which was an interesting situation. For the first time, we are married. And the last months, we also decided to stay a couple of more years longer because we really think that God put that on our heart, which makes it even a bigger challenge probably financially. So Peter started working like crazy, working 6 shifts a week. I started working from January again as HR freelancer. But yeah, we stick to that promise, to never lower our Heart for the House offering. Well, I need to give you a bit context. So we are Dutch, so we ride a bike. That's our transport. Yes. We have an electric bike because it's not doable to ride here with a Dutch normal bike. And we have one really old car. That's our transport. So there we go to church, we go to work, we do all our things. But in 1 week, the electric bike got stolen at Blacktown Station. Yes, we know now that's not the place to put your electric bike, but we didn't know before. And a couple of days later, our car broke down. So to be honest, we were a little overwhelmed because we had no transport anymore. We didn't have money to rent a car or whatever, and we were not prepared for extra costs. And then someone said to us, like, do you realize that it's hard for the house season and that these things, you know, maybe happen because of that? And that was such an eye opener for us. So we started praying together and, you know, putting our faith in God and just, you know, believing that God will bring it back. We didn't know how, but we just prayed for something unexpected, but we kept on keeping our offering the same. And then the miracle happened. Because the moment we bought our new car, it's still a 14-year-old car, by the way, but for us, it's a really grown-up car. The moment we bought that car, we got a text from good friends of us that they want to pay a huge amount of our car, which was, you know, so unexpected and so relieving. And a couple of days later, we received an envelope from an anonymous giver with like even more money in it to buy a new electric car. Yeah. And we were overwhelmed again, but now in a good way. And I want to read out a verse to you what really spoke out to us. It's in Luke 18 in the Message translation. It's where Jesus says to the rich person, like, to sell all his stuff, etc. And then Peter said to Jesus, we left everything we owed and followed you, didn't we? Yes, said Jesus, and you won't regret it. No one who has sacrificed home, spouse, brother and sister, parent, children, whatever, will lose out. It will all come back multiplied many times over in your lifetime. And then the bonus of eternal life. The moment we got that envelope with money, my son said to me, like, maybe it's from God. If you don't know who it is, maybe it's from God. And I think it is. I think he's right. The last Sunday, when Heart for the House Sunday started, we were sitting there with a new car and a new electric bike. And, you know, it's more than transport. For us, it was God saying to us, like, okay, if you put me first, you will never lose. And I hope you get encouraged by that, you know, because sometimes life is tough, even financially. But by putting God first, God will care for you, for your family, for your finance, for everything in your life. And, well, we hope that encouraged you as well.
Yes, amen.
Hey, that was so encouraging. Not only the nature of the content of what you shared, but I think you guys' passion and spirit and enthusiasm and just faith in God is so uplifting and encouraging. Peter, Suze, thank you guys. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, it's so great to have you part of our church world and our Hills family. You guys, don't say it lightly, you're a blessing. And Peter, I felt so bad when I was standing chatting with someone on Sunday and your little daughter came running past and stacked it in front of us and grazed her elbow. But I said to Suze when I was speaking to her on the phone, she kind of, I saw the skin off her arm and she just took it in stride. So resilient little girl.
Yes.
Raising some resilient kids there. Good on you guys.
Thank you.
No, much love, guys. Appreciate you. Hey, you guys might remember on Sunday, if depending what service you're linking to, but definitely if you're in the 11 a.m. service or the night service, you would have heard Pastor Brian speak about something that was given, a gift in kind, so to speak, how someone had organised for over 800,000 items of PPE to get into the hands of Vision Rescue and Bijou and his team, and especially to some of the, which I believe they're going to use for some of the frontline workers over there in India. And Pastor Brian spoke about how there's a business guy in our church that had facilitated that. Now, I know straight away, I think there are a few of us that, you know, sort of put two and two together, realized who that was, because he's passionate about Vision Rescue and he's sort of all things product and PPE. But as well, I'm just going to say, the reason why I'm saying this is he's a very humble guy and I sort of had to prompt him a little bit to be able to share this, but I just think it's such an inspiring story. And he's one of the most entrepreneurial, passionate, just all-round good guys that I know. So I asked him to share a little bit this morning. That is Nathan Kingston, affectionately known as Kingo. How are you, Kingo? Good to see you there, mate. I even see it doesn't say PPE, but I see a PE sign in the background.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm well, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, very, very well, mate. Good. It's awesome to have you on, mate. And yeah, welcome. It's what a story and what a that's no small feat, mate. I think it was $3.8 million worth of product that has been organised there. Now, I don't know how you're going to frame that or how you're going to share it. I asked you to just tell us what's going on, what God's doing, and link that in somehow. So, mate, over to you.
Thanks, buddy. So, in short, my whole COVID experience has been a bunch of miracles. I could write a book on miracles through COVID. It's been unbelievable. So I just want to give you some miracles that have happened in my life in the last 12 months. And it really gives you an idea where God's at in my life. So if we cast our mind back to about March 2020, I was sitting there in church and God spoke through Brian and actually gave me a prophecy right there. And this was the last service before we went into lockdown. So the actual last service. So he basically said in the prophecy, he said, look, God's going to give you blessing and you're just going to be able to bless others. And I said, this is awesome. I love doing that. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But it was a pretty long prophecy. It went for about, 2 or 3 minutes in church. And I've been reflecting on that ever since, sort of all the time, sort of listening to it. So the story behind that, he didn't know this obviously at the time. My whole Connect group been praying. That night where he had that prophecy, I'm in the merchandise and apparel game. So we were moving a bunch of lanyards to the last, it happened to be the last event at ICC. That was happening the next day. The problem is that the product had been bumped from China to Australia on an airline 5 times. And it was just kept getting bump. And this is a massive order that I had to produce for the ICC. The reality is it was on the next weekend. So that was a Sunday night and the Monday. So I'm all pumped and I've got this prophecy. Everyone's praying for me. So I hope this comes true. Hope God turns up. Anyway, Monday morning, after it being bumped 5 times, I got a call to say it's been bumped 6 times. So I was devo. However, this is when the miracle kicks in. The miracle number 1 of many is that night, Malaysian Airlines put an airline on that they don't fly at night. They put an airline on. I don't know if you know anything about air freight from China. It usually takes 3 to 5 years. In the last 12 years of being in this game, I haven't had an air freight come in quicker than 3 days. But this is in the middle of COVID, China COVID situation. So so on the morning, it says it's not going to, it gets on the Sunday night, said no chance. Monday morning, no chance. Monday night gets on a flight and the event's later on in the week and actually goes 24 hours. It lands in Sydney. First time ever in 12 years, a flight did a direct flight to Sydney. Now that's a miracle. It never happens. I got the product, got delivered to the ICC, client happy, and miracle number 1. Miracle number 2, I pivoted into PPE as Dan said. Our industry, we're the lower end of the. So when people want merchandise, apparel, they're going to look after their staff before they come and get lanyards and pens and everything for marketing reasons. So we're very, very down the low end. So I had to pivot. So I had to move around, see what we're going to do. So I used my gifts and used my contacts, and I found that one of my suppliers, who I've been supplying those little sanitizer bottles to events for years, actually had availability in their factory. So obviously, if you remember the toilet paper rollout, the sanitizer rollout, everyone needed these things really quickly. So I called my supplier, and this is when the second miracle kicked in. He said, "Yeah, I've got space. Have pretty much as much as you want." I went, "Are you serious?" So I got on the phone and spoke to the likes of 180TC and their clients, and we got together. The second miracle is we'll be able to move equivalent to a jumbo jet, 747 full of sanitizer in a week. We moved it all into Australia, and then we palmed it out. So for the last 12 months in 2020, I moved from a merchandise into sort of PPE. And then the third miracle is what Dan mentioned. I've been working with BG to try and get stock to him for ages, and he needed oxygen concentrators. So the dire straits in India, you wouldn't see in the media, but in India, they've got all sorts of issues in the lower end where he works, right in the slums. So I've been trying to work and trying to sell some of this PPE product to get money to pay for oxygen. So we'll get oxygen concentrators to him so people can survive. Long story short, when I was on that journey, I was trying to move this PPE product to raise money for Vision Rescue. And no one's really buying it. Because in Australia, we're okay. We're not okay now, but we have been okay. So therefore, no one really needed this product. So speaking to different suppliers and all my product, I was able to get together. And as Dan said, we were able to, on the eve before, actually Friday before Heart for the House, I contacted Bijou and I said, bro, you wouldn't believe this, but this is what I've sent him a spreadsheet of what we've got. And as Dan said, yeah, it was totaling a lot of 3.5 million value worth. And it was actually purchased at that price as well earlier on in the high market. So fortunately, now I've got this product in Australia. The next step is getting it there, which is the miracles are still coming. So within 2 hours of that happening, I got a phone call. It was Friday afternoon. I had a couple of the mates over here actually, and one of the mates online here. And a call came through from Bijou. I told him, look, this is what's happening. He was going, this is unbelievable. I've been working on this order for 5 months, and this is back to my normal stuff through the salvos. We supply a lot of the salvos. We're working on an order for 5 months. And within 2 hours of me sending that email or call, email and call to Bijou, this guy calls on the Friday afternoon and said, mate, just want to let you know that the order that we've been working on is now going through. And that order is the biggest order I've had in 12 years to date. And it's also going to set me up for 5 years. So within 2 hours, I've sort of just said, here, Bijou, here's your product. And then old mate from the salvo calls me and goes, mate, we're on. So that's another miracle. And the miracle, I've got a couple more, I hope I'm not running out of time. But so the fifth miracle, which is still waiting to happen, by the way, is Bijou's been in contact. We've got to get this product to India. So if there's anyone who runs an airline on the Business Connect, let me know. But Bijou knows Etihad Airlines pretty well, and he's been using his contacts. And it looks like Etihad today, it's not confirmed yet, he's going to potentially get some of the cargo. It's obviously 3,500 kilos. So, sorry, 300,000 kilos of stuff. So they're not going to put all that, but we're going to work out the mask, which is the most important, and the coveralls, which is like protective gear, to get it on Etihad Airlines. And that's this close to the miracle happening. So the second to that, there's a donor that came in that Bijou was telling me about, that if that doesn't happen, if Etihad don't actually pay for the free air freight, then this guy is going to pay for it. So we've got a lot of this product that we can't even get to India, but we can, obviously, if we sea freight it. But the reality is we need to air freight it because they need it badly. So we've got a donor that's going to pay for the air freight if Etihad don't come through. So that's number 5 miracle. Number 6 miracle is this morning at 3:57, Bijou texts me. And he goes, bro, this is unbelievable. And I've just listened to the message this morning before I got in. He said, mate, I've got this government that just contacted me and they need all this PPE stuff. Obviously, you've given this to me, so that's mine, so to speak. But have you got any more? And the reality is we have got more. So this big Indian client at 3:57 this morning, a government contact in India said, mate, I heard about this story where you've received all this product. I need to buy all this product. And I went, we are on. So that's it, mate. That's my 6 miracles. If I'm wanting to write a book about all the miracles, but God's good. It's not all about me. It's all about God. And if we don't lose the fact that it's God has made all these miracles happen, not me. I'm just the messenger. So there you go.
6 and counting, hey?
Doesn't stop, bro.
So good, so good. No, I love it, Kingo. You're inspiring, mate. I love your faith for miracles. We all need that. Actively believe in God for miracles, and I love that you live the type of life where you need miracles. You're not living safe. It's awesome, mate. Good on you. Thank you. Look forward to you in 7 onwards in days to come.
Can't wait.
All right. We're gonna throw to the next person. Aldrin, aka Buzz, mate. For those that might not have ever made the astronaut reference, do you want to jump off mute? Tell us why you are commonly known as Buzz.
Hey Dan, how you going? Thanks for having me on. Hey everyone. So for those that don't know, Buzz Aldrin, second man on the moon. My nickname's Buzz because I just provide the buzz wherever I go, I guess. Not true, just kidding. Thanks for letting me.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. So it is kind of true, Buzz. You are a man. And when you were dry, this sounds weird, but when you were dry needling my groin, it's like every muscle in my body was buzzing. So yeah, sorry. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, I probably should provide context of who I am because that did sound very, very strange, me needling your groin, Dan. But for those who don't know me, I'm a physiotherapist, been a physio for 10 years. I'm also a husband to my lovely wife, Annalyn, and a dad to my baby girl, Lainey, who's 10 months old. I love them a bit. But for a while there, I wasn't just a physio, I was also really passionate about fitness. About 5 years ago, my mate and I, we decided, he's from church as well, we decided we wanted to open a gym, and we wanted to use this space as a platform to show who God is through our work and what we do. And basically this gym was it was a real pedestal for us to do that. The way we delivered our services, the people we had in the gym, we had, guys from Hillsong coming across to hang out with people who didn't know God, and it really did show, like, God can work in your business, and people can get to know him as well. And it was a really, really awesome business that I had. I guess for me, just sharing like faith steps and miracles where God showed up is that 2 years ago, just before COVID, I guess I kind of had this feeling that, I feel like this is awesome. I love this space and I want to keep doing it. But I felt like God was stirring something in my heart to say, hey, I've actually, this isn't it. I actually got more for you, and I feel like I'm going to use you, and I want you to do something else. But I was a little bit lost at the time, and I remember sitting in a service one time, and this kind of old bloke with a beard rocked up on stage, claimed he wasn't a pastor. His name's Andrew Denton. Started talking about kingdom builders, and he spoke about his story and how he works hard, and and his calling was to finance the kingdom and to be a blessing, to be blessed to be a blessing. And that really spoke to me. And I remember writing my phone. I was like, I've got to meet this guy. I really got to get some clarity, some answers. I need this guy to mentor me, sort of thing. A couple of weeks later, he rocks up to my physio clinic with an injury, and I don't think he was that impressed with who I was at the time. But a few needles could change that. Needles change lives. Dry needles, guys, not any of the other types of needles. But so you know what? I mean, that's a miracle in itself. Meeting Andrew now I see him on the regular has been a very consistent inspiration to me in my life, and yeah, love you, mate. But you know what? The miracles don't. In that time when I was receiving clarity, I kind of thought, okay, I feel like God's telling me to actually give up this gym. For a while there, it became who I thought I was. I was this trainer. Everyone looked up to me. I loved to lead, all that sort of stuff. And God kind of puts you in this position where it's like, I need you to give up something that I know you very so much value. I need you to sacrifice this gym because I've got some bigger things for you to do. And that's hard. The gym was a second income for me and my family, and that's all I want to do is provide for my fam. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing it. But the hardest thing about giving up the gym was what God was also telling me. He was telling me that I needed to just give it to my mate. Don't ask for a cent. I just need you to do it because there's something going on that I obviously with my mate's stories. He's a great guy, and it would be a huge blessing to him and his family, and what he could potentially do with this. So yeah, I took the bold step. I said, you know what, if I'm a kingdom builder, I've got to take big bold steps, big faith steps. I know God's going to show up, so it's exactly what I did. Just handed the business over to him, and he's the happiest guy alive. No, he's got a kid now. His family's doing well. He's he's doing really, really good. So I did that, and I guess, you do it and you just feel, okay, all right, God, what's coming? And I'll tell you what, a month later, just to give you context, my wife and I have this goal board. During that year, we wanted to buy a house and we wanted to start a family. A month later, after I gave up the gym, God allowed us to buy a house. Not just any house, but a house in the space that we wanted to surround ourselves with people and community. And I'm basically a stone throw away from Andrew's house, which is awesome. But also, towards the end of the year, one of the other things was we wanted to start a family. And, a month and a half later, found out my wife was pregnant. So, just huge miracles that happened just by surrendering something to God. And it was awesome. So that was pre-COVID, right? Come COVID, we've just bought a house. I've got a kid on the way. It's March. COVID hits, and I'm thinking, God, what are you doing, mate? Like you've told me to do all this stuff, and now I'm going to really struggle here. But knowing that God showed up the year before, I was like, I've just got to do it. And during that time, we committed as well as Kingdom Builders, like we've got to commit to doing this and providing for the house and funding the kingdom. And so we're just like, you know what, God, if you showed up before, I know you're going to show up again. And we just committed to continue to give. Anyways, 2020, COVID, basically God blessed our business. Our business for physio went from two practitioners to now a 25-man team. We've gone from 1 location to 8 locations. And God's really blessed us, you know, with our business. He's rescued our business during COVID. People had the time, people had the funds to spend, people valued their health. And so people were just coming through the door. It was great. So that was the second blessing. And I guess now I'm in a very similar kind of season where God's kind of stirring something in my heart saying, hey, I actually feel like there's more to come. And so, you know, this year is all about trying to plug ourselves in the church, into ministry, to try and, you know, build the house and rebuild. So we're committing not our finances only, but also our time with Epic 5, Jono and Kimmy, and we even started our own Connect group. And so we've got all these things going on, but, you know, like a couple of years ago, I'd be pretty stressed out about it all. But I feel a big peace knowing that I'm in the right spot, the right place, with the right people around us. And it's so true. Like, I feel like the biggest lesson learned is that, you know, you just got to trust God. You got to expect He's going to show up. And, you know, he has more than what you can ever imagine for you. You just got to be on the boat with Him. Yeah. So that's my story.
So good, mate. Wow. Absolutely love it, Buzz. That was, look, you might not have been following, but people are pouring on the encouragement in the chat, mate. I know that really spoke to people, really encouraged them, me very much among them. Wow. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. All right. I'm going to, last but definitely not least, is Carly Reardon Carly and Joe from our Gold Coast campus. Carly, do you want to jump off mute just so you pop up there for all of us?
Hi, Dan. Morning, everyone.
Hey, great to see you. You made it back from Adelaide Hills last night, okay?
Actually, no, I'm sitting in the airport. Our flight, it's a long story, but I'm about to jump on in a few minutes.
Okay, well, let's get to it. Look, you've got an incredible testimony. Take your time, share what's on your heart. Really looking forward to it. I'll let you get straight into it, Carly.
Yeah, thanks so much. I was just chatting to one of our Kingdom Builders on Sunday night and just kind of sharing the story. My husband and I have been married, I think, coming up to 14 years. And across that time, Heart for the House has always been really significant for our family. Just an opportunity. I suppose Pastor Brian says it's not equal giving, but equal sacrifice. And for us, it's been an opportunity to actually sow faith. So when we're thinking, we're not just sowing finance, we're sowing our faith for the following year. And so we have, across that time, always given a week's wage of what we want to earn the following year. I'm hoping you can still hear me over the announcement. Okay. So we've always sown a week's wage of what we wanted to earn the following year, with the hope that we would never go backwards in our giving. So across that time, through changing jobs, my husband was a civil engineer and then went to maths and physics, and now pastoring at church and having children. That was me. So we kind of got to the point a few years ago where we realized that our giving was capped, and we can't, how much further can you go? Can you still hear me? Yes. Okay. How much further can we go when we feel called to give, but we're on a pastor's wage and part-time teacher wage? And at that time, Andrew Denton had come up, and I think I said something similar like that. You know, we feel called to give, but how do we do that? Like, we're on minimum wage. And he was encouraging people in business and was just kind of like, why not? And at that time, it just really hit me. And it was like, it reminded me that I'm a writer, and I'd written a book that was more of a passion project. And my goal with that book was always just to cover costs. I was just stoked if it didn't cost our family something, but I was able to get that message out there. It's about dating and relationships, and part of my story was I had an abortion, and it's quite kind of a bit traumatic and needed to be shared. And then obviously the story of restoration. So in that moment, I was just challenged to believe bigger for that part, and that perhaps this little side hustle of mine, my passion project, could end up being something that we could then finance finance the kingdom, and to specifically for Kingdom Builders or our foundation. And so at that point, I realized as well, I was wrestling at the time with wanting to market my book, because it felt odd if I was like, oh, if I market it, then I'm earning money, but I feel like this story is not for me. So it just made it really clear. I was like, from that moment, anything that I earn from this book is going straight to Hillsong Foundation. And it just made it clear. And then when his book came out, Andrew Denton's book, I ordered it, started reading, and wanted to read it so quickly that I ended up buying the audio book as well, so I could get it read quicker. And from that moment, just actually set a numerical goal for like just that small aspect of faith. It was, and just to kind of stretch, and that was last year. And to be honest, I kind of forgot about it, got busy building church, doing work. And 2 months ago, I should say actually that since that decision though, the first lot of bulk orders started coming through, like bundle orders, but did forget about it. And then 2 months ago, I got my first like box order for a school bought box order to give out to their year 9 students. And at that point I was like, oh my goodness, I've gone from 1/3 of my goal to now 2/3 of my goal. This could actually happen. And then a few weeks later, another bulk order, and then another bulk order, to the point where I got to the dollar what I had committed in my heart to give on top of our family's giving. So basically that just, we got to give this last weekend more than we ever had to give. And it was kind of from my side hustle. And it's just inspired me, I think, about the following year to then stretch that bit further, but also knowing that God perhaps wants to use the little part in my hand to do further and to do more. And I suppose just listen closely to what he wants for it, watch him bless it. But thanks.
So good, Carly. You know, incredible. And I know there's also so many other components to your story too that you could have shared. And you know, I mean, even what you texted me about last night, you guys just have some incredible faith stories. And thanks for being the real deal. Thanks for living it, and just for your peace of mind. We could hear you perfectly. The announcements.
Oh, thank you.
So, really appreciate you. I did just mute you though, because we were getting an announcement coming over. But no, thanks so much, Carly, and thanks for tuning in. You told me you were supposed to be flying last night, so sorry to put you on the spot and have you do it from the airport. But thanks for being flexible, and just incredible faith stories all around, guys. So everyone that shared, thank you. Let's give them last bit of love in the chat, and really thanks for leaving it, guys, and just being the real deal. Right on time. I'm going to pray for us all and let you get into your day. Father, I thank you so much for some of the incredible people that we have in our world, and for the house offering, that we've already just seen so many miraculous stories in the individual lives. And Lord, as we continue to sow, to put you first, to trust you, to hear your voice, to lay down what you're calling us to lay down, to use what's in our heart, to use what's in our hand, to truly fulfill what's in our heart and what's in your heart, Lord. I pray that your blessing would be on people, Lord, that you would give us fresh ideas, you would give us strategic connections, Lord, that you would truly do something great. We pray for our church, for our leaders, Pastors Brian and Bobby. We thank you that you're a good God, that we get to connect like this, spur each other on in the faith, in all things in our world. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. All right, everyone. We'll see you hopefully. I don't know what's happening with church yet here in Sydney, but hopefully see you in some way, shape or form over the weekend. Lots of love. Stay safe out there. Keep taking faith steps. And yeah, we'll see you back on this platform, same time, same place next week. See you everyone. And thanks again, guys.
Amazing. 5 very, very different people and 5 amazing stories of God's faithfulness. And thank you, guys. Bless you. I love you all. It's fantastic. Nothing better than a story. Have a great day, guys. Love you all.